Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, for a moment, place yourself in the mindset of a mouse. Knowing that there is a cat moments away from pouncing on you. Your anxiety is through the roof. You are hyper alert. You are aware of every little sound. Now think of yourself as a soldier in a battle zone. Everywhere you look, there is someone trying to kill you. Every sound makes you jump. Every sense is on alert. That is what Mrs. Jones, my client, has lived with for the last 8 years. Her husband was abusive, enraged by every little thing, ready to snap and physically assault my client. Elmer Jones was my client's husband. He was a massive man at 6'2" and weighed 210. He was a correctional officer. He worked with the local sheriff. The prosecutor asked early in the trial, why didn't my client call the police if she was being so physically abused? You know, I know a lot of police officers, and there is an unwritten code that you cover your partner's back. You back them up. You keep the blue line. You protect your own. Mr. Jones was a correctional officer that worked for the police, with the sheriff. Several times, Mr. Jones had friends, colleagues, come to the apartment. Several times he had sheriff's deputies come to the apartment. How could my client trust the same men that called her abuser their brother? That is why my client never called the police. In this sketch that I will show you, it shows the path that Elmer took to confront my client. He picked her up by her throat. She tried to run into the bedroom. He grabbed her arm and started to punch her in the stomach. Diagram 2 shows you that my client crawled into the bedroom and reached for the pistol that he kept in the dresser drawer. She finally was able to stand. She got some clothes on, and she was walking out towards the door. This was a second confrontation between Mr. and Mrs. Jones. She raised a gun, telling him to let her leave. He started laughing at her, told her she would not use the gun. She didn't even know how to do it. Mr. Jones, this is an important part, Mr. Jones was left-handed. Why is that important? As the diagram will show, as he reached for my client, she shot, hitting him right below the left armpit.
exiting right out, or out on the right side. He stumbled back. He went to go again. She shot again.
Ballistics tells us that the shots were from over 3 feet away. As the autopsy report shows, the entry wound and exit wounds are consistent with Elmer reaching out for my client.
And being 6'2", his reach would be over 3 feet.
As we see in this diagram of the 2 shots, it is conceivable that Mr. Jones was able to reach my client without moving.
Therefore, my client is justified in saving her life by using deadly force to stop the beatings, stop the torment, and stop this monster that had held her prisoner for 8 years. She killed her husband. Yes, she admits that. She is 5'4" and weighs 120 pounds soaking wet. He is a correctional officer who wrestles men twice his size on a regular basis. He could kill her, as he said several times, with his little finger. Ladies and gentlemen, this was not murder. This was not premeditated. This was an act of desperation by a woman who had been physically, emotionally, and sexually abused for almost a decade. This was a cry of a mind twisted by the hyper-alertness that wreaks havoc on the body. He would not let her leave. He would not let her go. She could not flee. She could not stay in the bedroom because there's no lock on the doors. She had to take action to save her own life and to protect her life. So we have to ask ourselves a couple of questions here. Was it excessive? The answer is no. Was it premeditated? No. Did she have a choice? No. Is she guilty of murder? No.